Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go. Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated. And man, this episode right here that I want to get into is a bit of a follow-up and a recap to a video that I uploaded most recently regarding the Cleveland Cavaliers and lamenting the fact, you know what I mean, that up and down my timeline and maybe even in the mainstream media space, there doesn't seem to be a lot of talk about the historical nature of how they began this season and how good this team is in general. I'm like, you know what? Maybe the responsibility is mine. That's why I started this channel, to kind of go against the grain. And because I don't hear enough about other teams in the league. So as I hear a lot of chatter about, you know, the viewership in the league struggling and people's love of the NBA product not being the same, there's a very clear reason in my mind as to why that is. And that's the reason that I started this channel. I'm not saying that I'm going to help to restore people's love of the game and to get them to start watching basketball again. But what I at least hope to do is those who I capture the attention of, you know, we can get back to talking about other teams in the league, whether you're a fan of that particular team or not. But, you know, kind of just to give the respect and the love to the game of basketball at large. On that subject, if you've already seen the thumbnail, you know exactly what direction we're headed into. Again, I've already kind of leaked where we're going with this. But before I do so, if this is your first time visiting the channel, do me a huge favor and click the like button on this video, number one. Secondarily, subscribe to the channel. And clicking the like button on the video obviously helps us cruise along Algorithm Avenue and helps our position to change a little bit. So individuals much like yourself who are interested in hearing a brand new YouTuber whose page is struggling, according to one of my comments just a few days ago. But those who are just like you can find this kind of content. Man, without further ado, I'm jumping right into this episode. And this episode I'm going to entitle Historically Streaking with a 15-0 record. Cleveland's Cavs tie the 94 Rockets and the 49 Capitals. Man, so again, a few days ago, I produced this episode just to give flowers to the Cleveland Cavaliers, to what Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and the other guys that are, make up and comprise the full roster, are out there doing in Cleveland, man. They're playing a very, very good brand of basketball. Shout out to Kenny Atkinson, you know what I mean? But at the time of me actually doing that video, they were 13-0. Now they are 15-0 after tonight's win over the Charlotte Hornets. So, again, the reason that I really got into this particular episode, and I was not going to film an episode this evening, but I'm like, you know what? Let me at least, as I said in that video, the 13-0 video, I was like, man, hopefully, because I've been looking at doing a video for them after they, got to like the 7-0 mark. And I believe at 8-0, they were like the only undefeated team left in the league. And I was like, man, I don't want to do a video now because I feel like as soon as I get this episode up, I'm going to jinx them and they're going to lose. And so, again, the thing that made me, kind of get into this mode of doing an episode tonight is that I was like, well, at least if I didn't jinx them, right, with my video a few days ago. But secondarily, I'm like, let me at least on the community, post section of YouTube, just give them a shout out and, give them their credit and praise them a little bit farther for having achieved, 2 additional victories and extended their streak to 15-0. And then I started thinking, I'm like, man, these YouTube streets ain't safe. And, I've worked in competitive industries before. I've been working in creative field, you know what I mean, for the majority of the last, I don't even know, 14 years or so, right? Just extreme creatives, right? And I know competition is a thing, and I know ideas, come a dime a dozen. But I also know that people look at things and then they extract from things and to create and to broaden, you know what I mean, like the spectrum. And I get it. But after making that community post and, just kind of posting some talking points, I was like, you know what? while I'm up here imploring everybody else to, like, put some respect on Cleveland's name and, talking about the different storylines that are dominating the headlines in the mainstream media, and also, the headlines of this independent media space here on YouTube, whether it's on TikTok, whether, you know what I mean, wherever it is, Instagram, Facebook. I'm like, you know what? Somebody's gonna take my talking points and try to create a video and ain't even gonna give me credit for it. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a video. So that's why we're here tonight, but mostly just to give Cleveland, you know what I mean, their flowers. So let's take a look at, with this 15-0 start, how historic it is. Congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Shout out to them. Like I said, shout out to Kenny Atkinson and the coaching staff. Man, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. The Cleveland Cavaliers tonight with that 15th win and 0 losses mark, having achieved tied the second or tied for second best start to a season in NBA history, trailing now only the 2015-2016 Steph Curry-led Golden State Warriors, who ultimately went on to win 79 games that season. Went on to win 73 games that season. They went 73-9, and then ultimately lost in the finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oddly enough, LeBron James led Cleveland Cavaliers. So, you know what I mean? Like, interesting that Cleveland finds themselves back kind of in, that the realm. It's almost like I don't know, like a universal, you know what I mean, energetic and magnetic thing happening. And if that is to be the case, then actually starting out 15-0, they joined some very, very, very good company because the 93-94 Houston Rockets team led by Hakeem Olajuwon actually went on to win the NBA Finals. The 48-49 Washington Capitals made it to the finals, who also started 15-0, but they lost in the finals, though, right? So if that's any indication, of history, they're definitely a good company, and they still have a lot of work to do, clearly, with this being an 82-game NBA regular season, plus there being the playoff games to make it through those series. They have a lot of work still left ahead of them. Wish them the best of health and the best of luck with the season. But a little pressure comes with that too. Like, man, the last two teams that started at least 15-0 made it to the finals. You know what I mean? So good luck to them. You know what I mean? I've been a part of a championship winning team, and it's not an easy thing, man, to win a championship, but it is a beautiful journey. And of course, I wish that for them, and I wish that for anybody playing competitive sports. But again, my my motivation for this episode this evening was my commentary in the community section on that community post. So, I thought it a good idea to just kind of go back or rather, to come on and share, those insights and my opinions as stated in that community post. So let's jump right into it. And I open by saying, many NBA storylines dominating the headlines and our timelines, though none deserve more shine than Cleveland's Cavs, who on Sunday night, in a 128-114 victory over the Hornets, tied the 49 Washington Capitals and 94 Houston Rockets for second best record to start an NBA season at 15-0. Both of those teams sharing the second place historical ranking went on to compete in the NBA Finals, where only the 94 Rockets, led by Hakeem Olajuwon, would actually be crowned champion. Points that I've already covered here so far. Next up, this season's Cavs now trail only the historic Steph Curry-led 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors, who set the highest mark to date at 24-0. They started the season 24-0. A team most notably who finished the season a record-breaking 73-9, eclipsing I believe it was the 96 Michael Jordan-led Bulls team, who held the record previously at 72-10. Although the Warriors established a new regular season record, they, unlike the Bulls, would fail to win the championship that season, solidifying their dominance and league supremacy. So just some historical context around like kind of what's happening. I know that what's happening a lot in the independent media space, and you'll get it a lot in the mainstream media space also if you're watching like the First Takes and the, you know what I mean, the Undisputeds and the like all these other, just the plethora of NBA Today, the plethora of shows that are, dominating the mainstream media airwaves, and a lot of the independent creators, irrespective to how popular these shows are, or if it's in the independent media space, be it Gil's Arena, Stephen A. Smith Show, be it coming from Brian Windhorst, or any of the individuals, Dan Gottlieb, or any of the others, you know what I mean, like who have the backing of the machine as well, or even independent creators, as I stated here on YouTube, who gain popularity through a wide base of subscribers and views. there's a lot of rewriting of history that I feel like sometimes without actually giving historical context to things. So, again, for me, my mission was to give opinionated, sports takes, unfiltered, opinionated, based sports takes, but those based on facts. You know what I mean? So I just like to give historical context so that there is no rewriting of history, and we can just kind of understand for those who may be coming along, in their basketball journey, kind of new, or those who might, just need a refresher. That's like, oh, dang, yeah, you're right, bro. I forgot about that. And I'm not saying that I know everything. So hopefully, even the things that I share, somebody else will just say, man, you know what? Oh, bro, yeah. And then it was this too. And it could be a refresher for me as well. So just wanted to share those things. Next up, now, while I'm not suggesting that this season's Cavs are NBA bound, or NBA Finals bound, rather, I can assure readers alike or listeners alike that if you're not paying attention, you're missing out on an opportunity to witness history in the making. And again, it's so important to me. I'm going to pause right there in my reading just to say, like, it's just very important to me that as I listen to people talk about the game being boring today, it not being interesting. I said this in the 13-0 video for the Cavs, that you'll hear people say there's no defense being played. And if, you know what I mean, et cetera, if the game is, just 3-point centric, that lets me know when I hear people say things like that, that they aren't really watching the games. Because if you've watched this Cleveland Cavaliers team play, man, you'll recognize that there is an incredible system that they're under where they play. It's very balanced. It's the thing that most impresses me is their offensive balance. They will get up, a good deal of 3-pointers throughout, but it's not just that. It's their dribble handoffs. It's the pin downs. You know what I mean? It's the extreme motion. You know what I mean? From like back picks, etc., that are just incredible. You know what I mean? Like to watch. So you really have to watch the game. And they also play a lot of really, really, really good, you know, I guess, feisty team defense as well. A lot of switches because that's just kind of the nature of the game these days. But the way they kind of get after with their active hands, you know what I mean? It's just an amazing thing and a very fun thing to watch. So definitely history in the making if you're paying attention. If you're not, man, start paying attention. So back to the commentary from that community post. Not sure why the mainstream media isn't singing their praises, meaning the Cleveland Cavaliers' praises more, aside from the obvious fascination with fabricated dialogue about aging superstars who've worn out their welcome in the league, and their antics that are destroying the game's integrity. I don't even have to point to anybody in particular. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about if you're watching this game. It's, much to the chagrin of the actual fan, a lot of the things that are turning people off, which is why viewership is struggling the way that it is. Not just that, because I don't just want to make it about the product of the NBA being bad, even though, obviously it's not, it's just not a great product being produced, these days for a number of different reasons, which I can get into, but how much time you got? You know what I mean? But, um, the reality is that, even with all these streaming platforms and all this stuff, like, I just feel like, I was saying this to my lady a few days ago, I feel like it's not enough games, being televised these days. When in actuality, it's probably more games being televised than ever before. You know what I mean? But because they're spread out across all these different mediums, many that we have to pay as consumers, for. It's like, well, you're a consumer, you should pay for it. Get in the game, bro. This is America, right? And it's like, yeah, that's okay, but man, I think that if I take all my subscriptions from all these channels or all these apps that people want me to subscribe to, and I just put them all together and I do the calculation mathematically, I'm paying, or we, not just me, but we're paying more money for all these streaming services than we ever paid for cable when I was growing up. It's ridiculous, bro. And so I think that that's also leading to the degradation of the league, etc. But back to the commentary, though, if you're a fan of basketball and not fairy tale, check out one of my most recent episodes. I was talking about the 13-0 episode here. But if you haven't checked it out, it is definitely on the channel as well for you to check out. I'm just glad that, again, my previous video didn't jinx them. The Cavs look to extend their undefeated season thus far on Tuesday when they face off against the Boston Celtics, who are the betting favorite to win the title this year, defending their championship from a season ago. Excited I am to see how this continues to play out. In the meantime, enjoy the aforementioned episode. Again, if you guys haven't checked it out, man, please check it out. But more importantly, I concluded in this community post and put some respect on the Cleveland Cavaliers name, bro. Like, man, they are playing so good, and more attention and love should be given to them you know what I mean, for what they're doing this season. Hopefully, the mainstream media and also independent media, independent creators, tomorrow or through the evening, maybe up and down your timeline, maybe your algorithm's a whole lot different from mine. So maybe you're seeing a whole bunch of praise for him, but I don't see a lot of it. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying there should be more. I feel like that should be dominating what's up and down our timelines, especially here, or the airwaves even, because they are the only undefeated team presently in the NBA. The only one. The only one. You know what I mean? So I think that they should definitely be given their flowers. People should be talking more about these teams, or that team in particular, how it's structured and what they're doing. You know what I mean? Top to bottom. So again, my second video, this is just a follow up to, that 13-0 video, but I just wanted to go on record, just kind of saying some of the things that I wrote in that post, and then some of the things that I've said in this episode, because I kind of left them out in the last one, but also just wanted to go on record just historically for myself and for my channel, just to say, it can never be said that, oh, I'm just one dimensional in kind of the content that I'm offering. I want to talk about all these teams in the other markets. And I think nothing frustrates me more as a fan than to only hear about a handful of teams every single season in the NBA as though there are 30, 30 total teams in the league. So can we talk about, some of these other teams? Can we talk about some of these other players, and not just all the time, have to be beat over the head with the aging superstar, the person who's already had their day, the person that's, or the the collective of players who are not going to win another championship anytime soon, unless the league just, kind of goes crazy with this super team construction again, which, hopefully we're past that. So last up, I want to talk about the Cavs' upcoming schedule. So I think their most challenging game comes up here on Tuesday, which I mentioned. They face off against defending champion, the Boston Celtics, at 7 p.m. It's a game that's nationally televised on TNT, so that makes me even more excited. It's one of the qualifying games, or games that contribute to qualifying in the now Emirates, NBA Cup, that was last season introduced as the in-season tournament, but they're calling it something else now, like it matters, and it really doesn't. But I guess if it energizes the players, man, and incentivizes them to play a little bit harder for some extra money, you know what I mean, and so be it. But again, I think that the Cavs' biggest challenge is going to be in this game against Boston, obviously, and for obvious reasons. Although they've squared off against the Bucks and the Knicks, and some other teams that they've beaten along the way to get to 15-0. I don't think that any game is an easy game. I don't care who the team is. Brooklyn, gave them a run for their money, and a few other teams as well along, the journey so far as this season has gotten underway. So all these players and all these teams are comprised of NBA caliber, or professional basketball players, with the exception of Bronny James. My bad, I had to take a shot, but um, so anybody can be anybody on any given night. You know what I mean? It's a team full of professional athletes. These guys are the upper echelon of the sport, and they get out and they compete, nearly every single night, depending on who you square up against. So again, this Boston and Cavaliers game on Wednesday, man, is going to be super good. Boston is, kind of struggling a lot. So a lot with and I won't say struggling like they're losing, but they were utterly dominating teams last year, and I just don't see, or haven't. I've seen glimpses of it, but I don't really see them just smoking teams like they were smoking teams last year. So I think that because teams had a chance to spend a whole summer kind of breaking down what they do offensively, and to structure and strategize, how to stop them defensively. You know what I mean? They're just being met with a lot of that. So adjustments, basketball is like chess. You know what I mean? The best coaches and the best minds in the game are always making adjustments, and just kind of how it goes. But again, they have New Orleans after that, Toronto coming up after that, Atlanta they play in a home situation, and then they get Boston again on December 1st, before squaring off against the Wizards, the Denver Nuggets, Charlotte Hornets again, and Miami Heat. So they have a tough schedule upcoming. You know what I mean? I don't think that any of the games are throwaway games, like I said, despite New Orleans coming up on the schedule, Toronto having their best players out. You know what I mean? I just don't think that any game's a throwaway game. So I just wanted to come on and just kind of give more flowers and more credit, and hopefully shift the algorithm a little bit so that Cleveland's team will be popping up a little bit more, man, and maybe even just for my own gratification. I'll see more content about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland, this is for you. Shout out to all the Cleveland Cavaliers fans. I should hear, man, I swear, Cleveland Cavaliers fans should be going nuts right now. You guys should be much louder than these Laker fans are. I need some Cleveland Cavaliers. Are there any Cleveland Cavaliers fans? Like, yo, make some noise, bro. Your team is doing incredible, man. So I just wanted to give Cleveland their flowers, man. Hopefully, they can continue to extend this streak. We'll see how far it goes, but that's all I got for you, man. That's been the basis of this particular episode. Again, man, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, do so. Like the video also so that we cruise along Algorithm Avenue and other like you can find the video, bro. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves. Blessings.